What's going on, guys? It's your boy the Markham Knight here. Today's video is going to be all about Black Adam, the movie. Now, David Sandberg did confirm for his Shazam movie there would be no Black Adam in it. The Rock would not be in it at all, or at least he said he would not be featured in this movie. So maybe we do see a little bit of about him right at the end or something, maybe some sort of cameo, maybe just a mention. But this one is going to be all about The Rock's movie. So, The Rock has been talking about Black Adam recently. He's been talking about it with his Q&A with fans and stuff like that. People have been asking him questions, and he's been saying a lot of cool things. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delve right in here. First, we should talk about the Black Adam story. Now, he's had multiple origins. His origin's been done over several times. For the bad guy origin, the quickest way to put it is that Black Adam is basically Teth Adam, and he gets the powers of Shazam because it was granted to him, and he gets his powers from the Egyptian gods, not the Greek gods, and he's corrupted by the wizard Shazam's kids, who are Blaze and Satanus. And because he's corrupted, he becomes a villain. But The Rock did confirm that he would be an anti-hero, not a villain, and he also said that Black Adam would have lost his family, which gives him a deeper story. But losing his family kind of implies it's going to be the Jeff Johns, David S. Goyer. David S. Goyer is also the person who wrote Man of Steel and a little bit of Batman vs. Superman. So he does have a history in the movies. He also has written comic books, but he did work on it with Jeff Johns to redo Black Adam's origin story. And in that story, Black Adam is basically... he's a military combatant that fights for Prince Khufu, I believe it is, the Egyptian ruler, but he basically is of Kandak. Kandak is a made-up fictional country. It's in the Middle East, or I'm guessing somewhere close to Egypt at least, which is in Africa, but definitely he's basically, it's all about Kandak for him. It's about patriotism, and his family and his country are conquered by Akton is who he was called. He basically has the powers, if we compare him to a modern DC character, he has the powers of Metamorpho, this villain, and basically he took over Kandak and he killed Black Adam's family. And the wizard Shazam did give Black Adam his powers, and back then he wasn't called Black Adam, he was called Mighty Adam. And Mighty Adam basically used those powers to take Kandak back and kill Akton and kill anyone else in the way. And because he's killed so many people, the wizard Shazam does not agree, and he basically wanted to revoke his powers, and he got that evil status. But he was not evil, he was an anti-hero. He was trying to avenge his family, he was trying to avenge his country. And since then, Black Adam has basically been this almighty ruler of Kandak that doesn't let anything swing, and he protects his country no matter what. And he also has then, since then, tried to resurrect his wife Isis. And that's basically his kind of origin that I feel like they're going to go with here. I don't really know anything more than that. The Rock just gave away that he lost his family, so I do feel like that's the origin that they're going to be leaning towards. So let's talk about The Rock. The Rock is a very funny guy. He's a good actor in terms of being funny. He's always been in funny movies, but I want to know, because this does not look like it's going to be a funny movie. If he were to be Shazam, that to me would have made more sense because he has the personality for it and it kind of flows naturally. He can do badass easily. Badass is very simple for The Rock to do. But this is not just badass. Black Adam is not just badass. The way that they're portraying Black Adam is not just him being evil and corrupted. It's him being an anti-hero and having that deep hurt. And that's what we'd have to see from The Rock. Does he have the acting chops to kind of portray that? We don't know that yet. We'd have to see a Rock that lost his family, lost his wife, lost everything, lost his country basically, and then has to come back from nothing, from rock bottom, work his way up, and then become the badass Black Adam that we come to know and love. Directors. Nobody has been named for a director as of yet. We don't know who's directing it. We don't know. The story's deep. It's a deep story, so I don't think it's just going to be a funny story. I think this is going to be... The Rock initially said his movie would be fun, but people didn't understand he was talking about being in the Shazam movie, not having a direct Black Adam movie. So this Black Adam movie does not sound like it's going to be just a funny story. There might be some fun moments, but it won't be a funny story. I feel like it's going to be a deep story. And I feel like if you're going to do the deep story, but also on a big superhero budget, we should give another indie director a chance. because every time these indie directors get these big budgets, they're able to do great work. And my guy would be PTA, who's Paul Thomas Anderson. For those of you who don't know Paul Thomas Anderson, watch Boogie Nights. I know it's a little bit old, but watch Boogie Nights, watch The Master, watch There Would Be Blood. You can watch Magnolia. He's done some great movies, but he's never had this kind of budget or this kind of, we don't even know if he's really interested. This is just my pick personally, but if he were to be interested, someone like that, something along those lines, doesn't have to be a big name director. You don't need Martin Scorsese doing this movie. You just need someone who hasn't really got a chance yet, I think, who can do a great movie given the right budget. And you can always have guys like Zack Snyder and stuff work on the action parts of it if need be. But definitely you can get that done. You can have different people for the effects and stuff like that. Writers, right? I know I'm gonna butcher this name. Adam Schizikiel. He's the writer for Due Date, Maid of Honor, not Maid in Manhattan. Maid of Honor. Basically, he's done some romantic comedies and stuff like that. He's doing Where the Millers too. These names of these movies, they sound like funny movies and fun movies, which is kind of weird because if he's writing the Black Adam story and it's supposed to be this deep, sensitive, serious story, I don't know how well he's going to do with that. I did watch Due Date. I was not impressed by Due Date. I did not watch Maid of Honor. Due Date's the only movie of his I have seen. I do want to watch Where the Millers too, so when that comes out, I feel like I will get a better understanding of his writing skills. I don't know anything more than that yet, but Otto Binder is the other writer listed here. He's specifically supposed to do characters. For what that means, I don't know exactly, but it says he's writing characters. He did work on Justice League Animated, worked on Superman, the animated series, he worked on Luke Cage, he worked on Smallville, he worked on Jessica Jones, he worked on a lot of superhero stuff. So I feel like he's going to amp that superhero stuff into the screenplay and the script. And it's going to be interesting to kind of see where they go from that. Now, villains. Black Adam basically has a lot of the similar villains of Shazam. So basically, whatever Shazam takes, Black Adam can take whatever else is left over. I mean, I would personally like to see Lady Blaze and Satanas show up. They are the Wizard Shazam's kids. It would be good to see them kind of influence Black Adam a little bit. They don't have to do too much, but if they can influence him a little to kind of corrupt him a little bit and push him in the edge of kind of breaking in and kind of being that bad guy that the Wizard Shazam thinks he is, or the anti-hero that he believes he is, it would be interesting to see kind of the bad guys they would choose. They could also choose someone plain like Sabak, but I feel like his story is so deep, you don't need a crazy CGI'd fight at the end between two bigs. For those of you who don't know Sabak, I talked about this in the Shazam movie. Sabak is basically, he gets his powers from different gods, and he's like this huge demon being thing. I don't think he needs to fight something like that. I feel like if things are just hinted at him, like Lady Blaze and Satanas do, they don't need to kind of do everything and fight him one-on-one, but if they can manipulate him, that would be kind of the best case scenario, because his story is already a deep story. It can tell itself without having a physical bad guy to fight. Acton basically will be the bad guy to fight. That's going to be the guy he's going to be taking down, because that is the person who conquered Kahndaq in the first place. So that is going to be his one-on-one villain, but I feel like if they're kind of running things behind the scenes, that'd be really cool too, because it does set up a future movie. Speaking of setting up a future movie, The Rock stated that there would be separate origin movies for Shazam and Black Adam, and then they'd be brought up and together and put into a new movie together, basically, to face each other. So I am excited for that. It sounds like Shazam has nothing to do with The Rock's movie, and The Rock has nothing to do with Shazam's movie. So the inclusion that everyone wants to talk about Superman, I don't think that's happening. Why do I not think that's happening? Because Superman doesn't fit into the times where Black Adam becomes Black Adam. His origin story is thousands of years in the past. At least hundreds of years, depending on which comic you're reading, but definitely way in the past. So Superman doesn't exist yet. Superman is very new. Where Superman could fit in? One of two things. He can either fit into the Shazam movie, just kind of playing a little part in there, or he can fit into the Shazam versus Black Adam movie. And we can kind of see him there and what kind of a part he can play when Shazam and Black Adam meet. but I definitely think something that Superman would have to be in would have to be set in the present day. So I don't think that it would make sense for Superman to be in Black Adam's movie, despite The Rock kind of setting it up as much as he's been setting it up. I feel like he's kind of looking way down the pipeline and kind of looking towards that Shazam versus Black Adam movie, even more so than just the Black Adam movie when he's talking about stuff like that. But definitely very, very interesting news. Got me very, very excited. Tell me what you think.
This is the Markham Knight telling you to like, comment, and subscribe.